The stars above Earth shimmered like diamonds that Tuesday morning when everything changed. In Geneva, Ambassador Marcus Blake sipped his coffee while reading reports about trade agreements. His secretary, Nancy Allen, rushed into his office. "Sir, you need to see this," she said, pointing to the TV screen. Above every major city on Earth, massive ships appeared. They were silver and shaped like teardrops, each one larger than an aircraft carrier. The ships hovered silently, causing no damage but creating panic in the streets below. President Paul Johnson called an emergency meeting at the White House. Military commanders, scientists, and diplomats gathered in the war room. General William Turner studied satellite images of the alien ships, while Dr. Helen Morris tried to establish communication. "They're broadcasting on all frequencies," she announced. "It's in perfect English." A voice filled the speakers, deep and mechanical. "People of Earth, we are the Krillian Empire. Do not fear. We come as friends and benefactors." Marcus Blake joined the meeting via video call. His years of diplomatic experience told him this was either a great opportunity or a terrible threat. That afternoon, 3 aliens materialized in the United Nations Assembly Hall. They stood tall and graceful, with pale blue skin and 4 arms. Their leader, called Ambassador Thex, stepped forward. "We have watched your world for many years," Thex said. "Your species shows potential. We offer our guidance and advanced technology." The world leaders listened carefully. The aliens showed them holographic displays of their empire, hundreds of worlds connected by their technology. Faster than light travel, unlimited energy, cures for all diseases. "What do you want in return?" Marcus Blake asked directly. Thex smiled in a way that didn't reach his eyes. "Only what we ask of all our friend worlds. Tribute, resources, raw materials, and occasionally, your unique cultural artifacts." Secretary Diana Ross frowned. "How much tribute?" "Very reasonable amounts," Thex assured. "Other worlds find it a small price for our protection and knowledge." The meeting ended with the aliens giving Earth a data package about their empire. They promised to return in 3 days for Earth's decision. That night, cryptographers worked around the clock to decode the alien data. Captain Rachel Cooper, commanding the U.S. Vigilance in orbit, kept a close watch on the alien ships. Her crew noticed something odd: small pods leaving the alien vessels and scanning Earth's defenses. Dr. Stephen Murphy, working late in his MIT laboratory, made a disturbing discovery in the alien data. Hidden beneath layers of technical information were references to enforcement protocols and compliance measures. Meanwhile, ordinary people around the world reacted with a mixture of excitement and fear. Some saw it as humanity's chance to join the galactic community. Others worried about losing Earth's independence. As the first day of contact ended, world leaders faced a difficult question. The aliens offered advancement and knowledge beyond human dreams. But history taught humanity a valuable lesson. There's no such thing as a free lunch, especially when it comes from strangers with superior technology. In cities across Earth, people looked up at the hovering ships and wondered what tomorrow would bring. Some started stockpiling supplies while others celebrated humanity's entry into the cosmic stage. But in government buildings and military headquarters, officials prepared for multiple scenarios. The countdown to the aliens' return had begun. Earth had 3 days to decide its future among the stars. 3 days to choose between subjugation disguised as friendship or standing alone against the unknown threats of the galaxy. Captain Rachel Cooper floated in zero gravity aboard the UES Odyssey, Earth's newest space destroyer. Her crew of 200 worked silently, monitoring the alien ships. Through her observation window, she watched the silver vessels move in perfect formation. "Captain," called Lieutenant Sam Parker from the communications station. "We're picking up transmissions between their ships. The computer is still working on translations." Rachel nodded. 3 alien ships had requested permission to dock at the International Space Station. Earth had granted access, hoping to learn more about their visitors. Back in New York, Dr. Stephen Murphy hardly slept. The alien data filled his screens, and what he found disturbed him greatly. The next morning, he called President Johnson directly. "Sir, you need to see this," Stephen said. His hand shook as he showed the president hidden files in the alien database. These are records of other civilizations. The Krillians didn't just offer help. They demanded tribute. When species refused, they were destroyed. The president's face turned pale. "How many worlds?" "Hundreds, sir. Some completely wiped out. Others reduced to primitive states." Meanwhile, on the ISS, astronaut Michelle Sanders observed the visiting aliens closely. They appeared friendly, showing the crew their technology and discussing cultural exchanges. But she noticed their scanning equipment focused more on Earth's defenses than on scientific collaboration. "What exactly are you looking for?" she asked during a tour of their ship. "Just understanding your technological level," replied the alien scientist Drex, "to better help you advance." But when Drex thought humans weren't watching, he took detailed scans of Earth's missile systems and nuclear arsenals. 2 days passed quickly. World leaders gathered again for an emergency session via secure video link. The evidence from Dr. Murphy's discovery painted a grim picture. "They call it the Advancement Program," explained Director Karen Mitchell of the CIA. "But it's really subjugation. Once species accept Krillian technology, they become dependent. The tribute grows larger each year until these worlds struggle to survive." French President Pierre Dubois spoke up. "But what choice do we have? Their technology is thousands of years ahead of ours." "We fight," said General William Turner. "We prepare our defenses." "And if we lose?" asked Japanese Prime Minister Kenji Tanaka. Silence filled the virtual room. That evening, the Krillian ambassador returned with an ultimatum. UN Secretary General Emmanuel Santos welcomed Thex to a special assembly. The alien commander spoke directly to the cameras broadcasting worldwide. "People of Earth, our offer stands. Accept our guidance and tribute system within 30 standard cycles. Share your resources, and we share our knowledge. Refuse, and you choose isolation from the galactic community." Thex held up a small device. Holographic images showed Krillian warships devastating planets that had refused their offer. Cities burned, continents scared, populations reduced to scattered survivors. "This is the fate of those who reject our friendship," Thex said. "We hope Earth will be wiser." After the aliens left, world leaders debated through the night. Some argued for acceptance, believing humanity had no chance against such advanced technology. Others demanded defiance, refusing to bow to intergalactic bullies. Captain Rachel Cooper monitored alien communications throughout. Her linguist, Professor Alan Wright, finally cracked part of their code. The message he translated chilled everyone's blood. "Primitive world shows typical defiance patterns. Begin standard preparation for enforcement protocols." As the deadline approached, Earth prepared for either submission or war. Military bases increased their readiness levels. Scientists scrambled to develop countermeasures from stolen alien technology. Citizens stockpiled food and formed community defense groups. In Washington, D.C., President Johnson faced the hardest decision in human history: surrender Earth's freedom for technological advancement, or risk annihilation to preserve humanity's independence. The ultimatum clock ticked down. Earth had 28 days to decide whether to bow or fight. The entire planet held its breath, wondering if humanity's first contact would also be its last stand. The emergency session at the United Nations lasted 12 hours. Representatives from every nation debated humanity's future. Security footage showed protesters outside holding signs reading "Better dead than red" and "Earth belongs to humans." Secretary Diana Ross stood before the assembly. Her voice carried across the silent hall. "We have 28 days. 28 days to prepare our response. Whether we stand or kneel, we must decide together." In Colorado Springs, Colonel Frank Mitchell worked with his team at NORAD. They studied every detail of the Krillian ships, looking for weaknesses. Engineer Lisa Chen, working with stolen alien technology, made a breakthrough discovery. Their shields use a specific frequency pattern, she explained to the war room. If we can match that frequency with our nuclear missiles, we might penetrate their defenses. How many missiles would we need? Asked General Turner. Everything we have, sir. And even then, it might not be enough. Across the globe, nations united like never before. The old divisions between countries faded as humanity faced a common threat. Russian scientists shared research with American counterparts. Chinese manufacturing ramped up weapon production for European allies. In Australia, groups of civilian volunteers trained for ground combat. Japanese engineers developed new types of electromagnetic pulse weapons. African mines worked around the clock to produce rare materials for advanced projectiles. Captain Rachel Cooper received new orders aboard the Odyssey. Her mission changed from observation to preparation. Her crew converted cargo bays into weapon storage. They practiced combat maneuvers against simulated alien tactics. "We're like ants preparing to fight an elephant," said her first officer, Commander Jack Williams. "Ants can kill an elephant," Rachel replied, "if they work together." On day 12, something unexpected happened. A small alien probe broke away from the main fleet and landed in Montana. Inside was a message on primitive paper, not holographic technology. The message came from survivors of a destroyed world. They warned Earth about Krillian tactics. They study fear. They use your own weapons against you. They seek surrender before fighting. But humans show something different. Others beg for mercy. You prepare for war. The message gave Earth hope and reinforced their decision to resist. President Johnson gathered his top advisors in the Oval Office. Director of Defense Peter Matthews presented Earth's preparation status. Our conventional forces are aligned. Every nuclear submarine is ready. Our space fleet consists of 27 active ships. Not impressive compared to them, but better than nothing. What about civilian casualties? The president asked. Underground bunkers in major cities are prepared. Rural areas have evacuation plans. Medical teams are trained for mass casualties. In Geneva, Ambassador Marcus Blake finalized humanity's response. He worked with writers to craft the perfect message. They eliminated unnecessary words, reducing complex diplomatic language to its essence. "Keep it simple," he told his team. "Clear and unmistakable." As day 28 approached, Earth transformed. Military convoys moved constantly. Citizens practiced air raid drills. Children drew pictures of human spaceships defeating alien invaders. Old rivalries disappeared as former enemies trained side by side. The Krillian fleet maintained position above Earth, their silver ships gleaming like daggers pointed at humanity's heart. They sent daily demands for a decision. "We await your wisdom," their messages stated. "Choose cooperation over destruction." But in the quiet moments between preparation, humans shared determination. In London pubs, New York diners, and Tokyo restaurants, people spoke the same words. "We don't kneel." On the final day, President Johnson addressed the nation one last time before the response. "Tomorrow, we answer the greatest challenge in human history. Whatever comes next, remember this. We faced eternity in the face and did not blink." The countdown ended at midnight. Earth stood ready. Millions watched their screens as the moment approached. Ambassador Blake connected to the Krillian communication channel. Every human heart beat as one. The entire world held its breath. The moment of defiance had arrived. Humanity's answer to galactic subjugation would be delivered in hours. Their simple response would echo across the stars and define Earth's place in the cosmos forever. Morning broke over Earth like a wave of determination. The deadline had arrived. In orbit, the Krillian fleet arranged itself in perfect formation. Their ships pulsed with energy as they prepared to receive Earth's response. Captain Amy Richardson commanded the UES Defender, Earth's newest battlecruiser. She positioned her ship between Earth and the alien fleet. Her crew of 300 stood at battle stations, though they prayed their weapons would not be needed. "Open a channel to the Krillian flagship," Amy ordered. She straightened her uniform and faced the camera. The transmission would reach beyond the alien fleet. A network of deep space relays would carry Earth's words across multiple star systems. In Washington, D.C., President Johnson watched from the Situation Room. World leaders joined via secure video link. The entire planet listened through various media streams. Ambassador Marcus Blake stood ready in the UN Communication Center. He had spent weeks crafting humanity's response. Complex diplomatic documents filled with legal arguments and historical references sat prepared but unused. The truth was simpler. On the Krillian flagship, Commander Velk stood before his holographic display. Around him, thousands of aliens monitored Earth's communications. They had received responses from hundreds of worlds before. Usually came long speeches, desperate negotiations, final pleas for mercy. Velk smirked at his second-in-command. Another primitive species accepting their place in our empire. Record everything for the archives. The communication channel crackled to life. Captain Richardson's face appeared on the Krillian screens. Behind her, human officers stood proud and determined. The whole galaxy watched through the deep space relays. In homes across Earth, families gathered around screens. Children clutched their parents' hands. The elderly remembered wars past and prayed for peace. Young adults gripped modern weapons, ready to defend their world. Amy Richardson took a deep breath. The weight of humanity's future rested on her words. She looked directly into the camera, into the alien screens, into eternity itself. No. The single word echoed through space, one syllable that carried humanity's defiance. No explanations, no negotiations, no compromise. The Krillian command center fell silent. Velk stared at the screen, his forearms frozen in disbelief. His staff looked at each other, uncertain how to process such simple resistance. "Repeat transmission," Velks demanded. There must be an error. But the channel remained open. Amy Richardson continued to stare at them, unwavering. Behind her, every human crew member stood tall. Across the galaxy, other civilizations monitoring the relay gasped. The Drex Collective, still paying tribute after 50 years, watched in shock. The Vorn Empire, planning their own surrender, suddenly reconsidered. Even those who had been destroyed by the Krillians, their survivors scattered among the stars, felt a spark of hope. "Clarify your response," Velks commanded. "Surely you understand the consequences of defiance." Captain Richardson delivered humanity's complete response. "We said no." In Moscow, crowds erupted in cheers. In Beijing, people raised triumphant fists. In London, Big Ben struck its chimes as humanity celebrated its refusal to bow. The Krillian fleet activated their threat displays. Massive holographic projections showed orbital bombardment, planetary destruction. They broadcast images of other worlds reduced to ash. But Earth's response remained unchanged. On news broadcasts worldwide, people saw their own faces reflected in the coverage. Every human suddenly understood they were part of something larger. The individual became humanity itself. They were one voice saying no to tyranny. In the International Space Station, astronaut Michelle Sanders recorded humanity's moment of defiance. "Today, we don't speak as Russian or American, Chinese or European. We speak as humans. We speak as one." The Krillian computers struggled to categorize Earth's response. Their algorithms, designed for compromise and surrender, could not process such absolute defiance. Technical specialists searched their databases for similar responses throughout their conquest history. No recorded instances of single-word refusal, reported Chief Analyst Drex. All previous subjects attempted negotiation. As the minutes ticked by, the tension grew. Earth's military forces moved to defensive positions. The Krillian fleet began arrangement for attack formation. Yet in that moment, watching through deep space relays, subjugated worlds saw something they thought extinct: hope. That simple word, no, carried more power than any weapon. It carried humanity's spirit. Captain Richardson maintained her unwavering gaze. "We are done talking," she said. "The communication channel is closed." Warning sirens wailed across Earth as Krillian ships began their attack. The alien fleet unleashed beams of energy that could melt mountains. Their first strikes targeted military satellites orbiting Earth. General Kevin Howard commanded global defense from his bunker in Virginia. Screens showed explosions blooming like deadly flowers around the planet. All forces, engage the enemy. Protect our world. In space, the UES Defender led Earth's fleet into battle. Captain Amy Richardson ordered her crew into action. "Fire all weapons. Show them what humans are made of." Earth's spaceships dodged Krillian energy blasts, while returning fire with nuclear missiles and railgun rounds. The human vessels were smaller and less powerful, but they moved with unpredictable patterns. They darted between asteroids and used the moon's gravity to change course rapidly. Commander Laura Bennett led Earth's squadron of experimental space fighters. These small ships carried pilots from 20 different nations working as one team. They swarmed around massive Krillian battleships like angry wasps. "Attack from multiple angles," Laura commanded. "Don't let them lock targeting systems on us." Her pilots performed desperate maneuvers. Korean pilot Jin Kim dove between two alien ships, causing them to fire at each other. Brazilian pilot Carlos Silva used his fighter's small size to target weak points in enemy shields. Admiral Patrick Walsh coordinated naval forces on Earth's surface. As debris from the space battle rained down, his ships launched intercontinental ballistic missiles toward Krillian ships within range. The ocean lit up with missile trails cutting through the darkness. In North Dakota, missile silos opened automatically. Soldiers like Private Alex Turner guided nuclear weapons toward alien targets. Ground-based lasers attempted to shoot down enemy fighters that breached Earth's atmosphere. The Krillian flagship unleashed its main weapon, a beam that carved a canyon through the Pacific Ocean. Tidal waves rushed toward coastal cities. Emergency warnings screamed as millions evacuated inland. But humanity adapted. Australian forces activated experimental weather control satellites. They created rain clouds to absorb energy attacks. Indian scientists fired modified missiles filled with metallic chaff to confuse alien targeting systems. In Geneva, Dr. Stephen Murphy worked frantically in his converted bunker laboratory. He had developed a theory about Krillian shield technology. "If I'm right, these frequencies will cancel out their defenses." His daughter, Julie Murphy, transmitted his findings to military forces. Within hours, Earth's weapons incorporated the new data. Missiles started penetrating previously impenetrable Krillian shields. The battle entered its second day. Human casualties mounted. Melbourne suffered a direct hit. Parts of Tokyo burned. But humanity refused to surrender. Civilians armed themselves with whatever they could find. Underground resistance groups formed instant armies. In Russia, tank commander Boris Petrov adapted his ground forces for space debris falling like meteors. His tanks fired modified shells at low-flying alien scouts. Similar scenes played out globally, conventional military adapting to unconventional war. Captain Rachel Cooper's UES Odyssey engaged 3 Krillian destroyers simultaneously. Her ship suffered heavy damage but continued fighting. When main weapons failed, her crew used mining charges stolen from asteroid operations. "Fire everything," Rachel ordered as shields collapsed. "Every bullet, every flare, every piece of metal we have." The Krillian commander Velks watched in stunned disbelief. His fleet, which had conquered hundreds of worlds, struggled against primitive human technology. Earth's forces exhibited tactical creativity his empire had never encountered. "They sacrifice ships to save civilians," reported his tactical officer. "They use weapons in ways that defy logic. Their pilots perform maneuvers that should be fatal." "Impossible," Velks muttered. "We have superior technology." But superior technology meant nothing against human innovation. Converted civilian spacecraft joined military units. Communication satellites relayed battle data instantly. Amateur radio operators coordinated global defense networks. As night fell over Earth's battlefields, lasers and plasma fire lit the sky like an endless aurora. The stench of ozone and burning metal filled the air. Yet humanity endured. In London bunkers, citizens sang ancient war songs. In New York subways, people huddled but remained defiant. In villages across Africa, farmers modified hunting rifles to engage alien ground troops. Commander Velks received damage reports that made no sense. Human forces increased their effectiveness over time, while Krillian strategies remained unchanged. Earth adapted while the Empire stagnated. Day 4 of the battle brought hope from an unexpected source. Message pods arrived at human space stations from unknown origins. Inside were technical specifications and tactical data about Krillian weaknesses. Captain Rachel Cooper received one such pod aboard her damaged Odyssey. The message came from the Viridian Collective, a species conquered by the Krillians 15 years ago. Your resistance inspires us. The message read, "We send what help we can. Target their power core at 45-degree angle. Their shields cannot compensate." Similar messages arrived from other alien civilizations. Private Alex Turner discovered that the Krillian ship's shield systems overheated when hit by concentrated electromagnetic pulses from multiple directions. "It's like they never expected anyone to study their tactics," Alex explained to his commanding officer. Dr. Michelle Sanders worked with international teams to implement the new information. They modified nuclear warheads to create targeted EMP bursts. Japanese engineers developed focused energy projectors based on Viridian data. The battlefield shifted as human forces adjusted their tactics. Instead of brute force attacks, they coordinated precise strikes. Squadrons of fighters led by Commander Laura Bennett performed synchronized attacks on Krillian weak points. In Singapore, engineer Lisa Chen finished her greatest achievement. She had reverse-engineered captured alien shield technology and found its critical flaw. Their shields weaken exponentially when exposed to shifting frequencies, she announced to military communications. Within hours, Earth's weapons adapted again. Human missiles now carried frequency modulators that cycled through thousands of variations per second. Suddenly, Krillian shields that had protected their empire for centuries started failing. Admiral Patrick Walsh commanded Operation Rolling Thunder, a coordinated assault using the new knowledge. Every human ship, station, and ground installation focused fire on key targets. The Krillian fleet, which had seemed invincible, began taking serious damage. 3 enemy ships destroyed, reported Captain Amy Richardson from the Defender. 7 more showing critical damage. They're retreating from the inner solar system. On the Krillian flagship, panic spread among the command crew. Their sensors showed something impossible. Human technology improving in real time during battle. "How are they adapting so quickly?" demanded Velks. His second-in-command, Drex, studied battle data with growing uncertainty. "Every human seems capable of innovation," Drex reported. "Their civilian engineers solve problems as fast as our military poses them." Velks watched another Krillian battleship explode. The Empire's pride and certainty crumbled. These were not primitive beings accepting subjugation. These were warriors who fought with their minds as well as their weapons. Dr. Stephen Murphy announced his breakthrough discovery over emergency networks. "I found their command frequency. If we jam their communications between ships, they fight independently. They're less effective without central coordination." Human signals intelligence units immediately began broadcasting interference patterns. The Krillian fleet's perfect formations broke apart. Individual captains struggled to respond to evolving human tactics. In Australia, Aboriginal tracker John Williams guided resistance forces to crashed alien scouts. They captured functioning technology which military teams quickly weaponized. Similar scenes occurred globally, human ingenuity turning enemy weapons against them. The battle for Earth reached its turning point when Captain Rachel Cooper executed a maneuver that defied all military doctrine. She positioned the Odyssey between 2 Krillian capital ships and fired every weapon simultaneously. For Earth, she roared as explosions engulfed all 3 vessels. Her sacrifice triggered a chain reaction. Krillian ships, damaged and confused, began withdrawing. Commander Velks faced the unthinkable, the mighty empire retreating from a single primitive world. News of the Krillian retreat spread across monitoring civilizations. The Drex Collective stopped paying tribute that day. The Vorn Empire expelled Krillian diplomats. Seeds of rebellion sprouted across the galaxy. Impossible, Velks muttered as retreat became necessary. His empire, designed for easy conquests, had no doctrine for fighting enemies who improved under pressure. Earth's defense forces celebrated but remained vigilant. They knew the Krillians were not defeated, merely shocked. President Johnson addressed the world. "We've proven we can fight. Now we show the galaxy that humanity never surrenders." As the enemy fleet regrouped beyond Pluto's orbit, Earth prepared for the inevitable counterattack. But something had changed. The galaxy had witnessed human determination, and the Empire's aura of invincibility had been shattered forever. The silence that followed the Krillian retreat echoed across the solar system. Earth's defenders watched as the Emperor's massive flagship, Dominator of Worlds, turned away from Earth for the first time in 2 centuries of victories. Commander Velks stood on his ruined bridge, facing the unthinkable. His empire, which had swept across thousands of star systems, had been stopped by one small blue planet. The damage reports spread across his screens like a disease infecting his certainty. "Tactical analysis complete," reported his science officer Crix. "Human forces inflicted 40% fleet damage using inferior technology. Their adaptation rate exceeds all projections." Velks collapsed into his command chair. The Empire had no procedure for retreat, no protocol for failure. But as his ships limped away from the Sol system, reports arrived that would change the galaxy forever. On the planet Varric 7, slaves who had sent weapons data to Earth suddenly rose in revolt. The small human victory had become a giant spark, igniting rebellion across the Empire's territories. Within days, 17 subjugated worlds declared their independence from Krillian rule. The Drex Collective completely stopped all tribute payments. Their leader, Prime Minister Xena Drex, addressed her people. "We sent one message to Earth." They sent back hope. "If humans with primitive ships can fight the Empire, we with stolen technology can break free forever." Throughout the galaxy, propaganda images showed Earth's defenders celebrating their victory. The Krillian government tried to suppress the news, but their empire was too vast. Tributary species watched in wonder as battle footage leaked from Krillian military archives. On Earth, President Elizabeth Clark prepared humanity's next move. In her worldwide address, she spoke boldly. "We fought for our freedom, and now we fight for others. Any world seeking liberation from tyranny has Earth as its ally." Captain Amy Richardson, recovering from injuries aboard the Defender, received the first official request for help. The mining colony Terteshtu had declared independence and requested military advisors. Within weeks, human engineers arrived to help fortify their defenses. Dr. Stephen Murphy's research into Krillian psychology revealed a crucial truth. Their society had never encountered voluntary sacrifice for others. They calculated only individual benefit and loss. Human tactics, like Captain Cooper's sacrifice to save hundreds of ships, remained incomprehensible to them. "They think in terms of profit and submission," Stephen explained. "We think in terms of justice and freedom. That's why they cannot defeat us." The Free Alliance formed 3 months after Earth's victory. 10 liberated worlds signed treaties of mutual defense and shared technology. Earth contributed its rapid adaptation techniques, while other species offered their unique advantages. News spread to every corner of the galaxy. The Krillian Empire, which had seemed eternal, now defended its own borders instead of expanding them. Stolen alien technology helped Earth build automated factories producing advanced weapons. Private Alex Turner became Captain Turner, commanding the flagship of Earth's rapidly growing space fleet. Young people from all nations joined the military, not for conquest, but for protection of freedom. That simple word from Earth, "No," had evolved into a movement spanning solar systems. The Krillian Empire slowly crumbled. Without new tribute worlds, their resources dwindled. Their military, designed only for overwhelming force against weaker peoples, struggled to suppress multiple rebellions using new human tactics. Commissioner Velks faced trial in his own empire. The Council of Dominants charged him with incompetence. "You failed against primitives," they declared. "Your defeat has shaken the foundation of our rule." But no one could restore the Empire's aura of invincibility. Every alien child now knew the story, how one species said no to the galaxy's greatest power. 5 years after first contact, Ambassador Marcus Blake stood before the Galactic Council as humanity's official representative. Dozens of species, former tributaries of the Empire, welcomed Earth as protectors of independence. "The Krillian Empire ruled through fear," Marcus declared. "Humanity offers friendship through respect. Any species choosing freedom needs only to ask." The Empire still existed but diminished. It controlled fewer than half its former territories. Meanwhile, the Free Alliance grew stronger, bound by mutual protection rather than forced subjugation. On Earth, children learned a new lesson in history class. They studied how one word, spoken together as a united species, had changed galactic civilization. The word that stunned an empire. The word that gave hope to the oppressed across the stars.